Hello, my name is Suckit, and today we are talking about Stardew Valley again. Stardew Valley is not a horror game, but this is a very strange world that we've found ourselves in. There's some very strange things going on. Now, in the last few episodes, I feel like we were able to establish a couple of things. We established that, weird as this place is, nobody who lives here seems to think it's particularly unusual to be around, like, talking raccoons and magic and monsters. Who knows what all else. They're still living their occasionally messy lives and having kind of a hard time until we show up. We established that the condition of the world and the condition of this world's universe is created between the interplay of two forces. We have, I'm missing the iridium. We established that the two basic forces of this universe are solar and void. We could even refer to them as radiance and absorption. Now, the game makes no particular moral distinction between solar and void. And neither will we. We're not going to impose one on there. After all, if nothing else, both those associated with the solar and those associated with the void energies are typically both trying to kill us. An exception is our friend Krobos here. There you go, buddy. The shadow people, like Krobos, are associated with the void. And solar, I'm pretty sure that was associated with one of the other races that we used to see a lot of here, the elves, but we do not see currently in the game. There are things that try to kill us, that drop solar essence, and one of them, the mummies specifically, that the wizard trapped until a hero can put them to rest, are the remains of our friends the elves. The shadow people are still around, so that's nice. They seem fine. But the advent of iridium on this planet in a large concentrated amount not only gave rise to the curious geography of this particular part of the world, but also appears to be not only the reason that magic in this world, and especially in Stardew Valley, is relatively common. It seems to be what turned the elves into creatures that had to be wrapped in bandages that are only destroyable with resort to explosion or magic, and is very likely what poisoned this world's native Juminos and turned them into slimes. Now, if you want to know why I think all that stuff, you'll have to watch the first two videos, but for the purpose of this one, we'll just sort of take that as where we're starting and where we are. Now, I think that there are a couple of questions that we have to answer about ourself, our place in the world, and whatever it is that's happening while we are sleeping. You did what now? Woman, it has been 4 hours. I was asleep in the bed on this floor. What? Now we're getting tired. We can feel it's getting late. And a few things are true. We can come up here. Abigail's asleep. We can see her go to bed. We're never going to see her wake up in the morning, folks. She beats us to it every time. It's never clear what's going on when we're sleeping. She might change the floor out from under us. We might find ourselves having visions, and we'll be getting to that later. But here's the thing that's kind of creepy. Even at my age, I could theoretically stay up all night. But if we try that here, we're gonna find out that that's not allowed. And we could have been standing out there, by the way, and this'll come up in a minute. We will not have seen Lewis come by in his truck. Everything we put in the bin will still be there. It's 2 o'clock. And no matter what I do, no matter where I am, folks, the lights are going out. And we're going to wake up right here. I don't know if Abigail's going to have anything to say about it. Not today. Whatever you say. Good night, Abigail. There she is, wide awake. I just crawled out of bed. Now, there are all kinds of things that canonically happen in the game while we are asleep. One of the most curious is Lewis and his pickup truck and the bin. Now, we're going to assume the man has some method of getting his pickup truck out of here, but the basic conceit is, and he tells us very early in the game, he makes his rounds in the middle of the night and he'll pick up any produce or whatever that we leave in the bin, and he'll put some gold in our bank account or whatever. Now, if you played the game for any length of time, you know that you can have visions in those nights, and you wake up with knowledge that things have changed. You can see Juminos doing things. You can, a number of things. Stuff happens. Now, you might hand wave that, right, and say because video games, and that would be my instinct too, except for one thing. Now, we know when the witch goes by. We can see it. There's a void egg in here. There's no doubt it happened, but how did we know? We're going to see construction happening during the daytime. We're actually going to see it quite a bit. It's not just Robin. If the first couple days you go up there, up to the mines, you'll see the guy working away with a pickaxe at it. No, but there's... On the other hand, the Juminos, they do the things in the middle of the night, apparently. You have a vision during that period where no matter what you do, the lights go out, and in the morning, the results of the vision are quickly apparent. You know what else happens when you're awake? Townspeople setting up the festival. That's perfectly normal, right? Now, you might be able to hand wave the stuff that happens at night that you somehow know about as because video games. That's when the world changes. It changes at night. But we know that's not true. We see Robin building buildings. We see the townspeople walking around to their various tasks. There are places we can't go to because festivals are being set up. And yet, also things happening in the night that we are having visions of. And then we wake up and we see the results. It's not just the floor. It's the Juminos creating and destroying things. It's all kinds of the witch flying over and cursing the chickens. There's something is happening. We cannot be awake for it. The game insists that we cannot see Lewis driving by in his truck, but it's not like we don't see things drive. So that kind of brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about. The apparent central conflict of the game at first, when you're first getting into it. You see Joja and you see Pierre. And, Pierre is obviously more sympathetic for no other reason than you're literally coming here to get away from Joja. But there's more than a few weird things about that. Hey, Linus. Now, one of the first things you see as you're coming into town for the first time is Pierre's. And you meet some people, they tell you who they are. But here's Pierre. Oh, I can buy seeds from this guy. The character of Joja Mart is made clear in the opening cutscenes. This can't be good for you. In fact, it's very specifically not good for a couple of people. This guy looks like he hankers for a hunk of cheese. And there we are, near the skeleton. So, everything dirty, dingy, gray, the life's better with Joja, with the security camera and the physical people watching us. The character of at least our apparent adversary in the game is made clear from the beginning. As you walk around town, you see, it could be any town USA. There's some rundown buildings. There's a bar. There's a couple of houses. It's all a little dilapidated and run down. And then at the edge of town, there's the chain store. Exactly where we used to work. We can see some of the residents. We can see the produce. And most importantly, we can see this guy, Morris. He introduces himself. We could buy a Joja membership and become a part of all of this again. We could walk in here instead of Pierre's. It's kind of cold in here. Now he's setting up a brand new, please check back soon. Okay, so we couldn't on day one, excuse me, Sam. We couldn't buy a Joja membership on day one, but we could probably do it soon, if we made that choice. Now, on the one hand, it seems like we have a lot of agency and control over our environment. We can learn about people. We can befriend them. We can become a valued part of their community. Mostly by giving them things, but that's video games for you, It's fine. Hey, Marnie. Now, that's not, of course, the only thing we can do in the game. People don't know us. We can get to know them. Some of them. There are people we can't get to know, like some of the people that you can only interact with via magnifying glass. But most people we can. Most people in the town, certainly. Let's buy Shane a beer. But as much agency as we appear to have, there are some things we don't have a lot of control over. And some of that is game design, and we're going to hand wave it. But some of it is definitely part of the lore, and it's part of what makes this game kind of so horror adjacent, like, at least for me. Like, we can stand here in the community center. This could be a movie theater right now, folks. If we had gone the Joja route and put the warehouse in here and then eventually bought the movie theater, Murray'd be riding high. He'd still be over there at Joja. We'd be, we'd have our membership. We'd pay slightly discounted prices for seeds, although we'd have to buy the new seeds from Pierre anyway. But we didn't do that, so there's a community center here and no movie theater here. In a lot of ways, your character in Stardew Valley is kind of an extension of yourself, but in some ways, it's not. Your character has some qualities that, after many playthroughs, and whether you go the Pierre route or the Joja route, become apparent. Now, regardless of the choice we make, whether we go, apparently what our grandpa wants to do, and maybe what we came out here to do in the first place, or, become Joja employees again out here for all intents and purposes, regardless of our choice, it's gonna start the same way, and we're gonna approach it the same way. Now, when you start the game, you're someplace very modern looking, and along with all of our magic and blacksmithery and weirdness, we also have modern things. We have computers. We have televisions. I mean, there's a television in here when you start. So, it's not like we're in some medieval fantasy world. Trains, planes, automobiles. But Stardew Valley, particularly the area of Stardew Valley, is a strange place. We're going to pop out here in whatever house we start in, depending on whatever farm. And we're going to walk outside, and we got hand tools and a watering can. And we're going to clear some space to start doing a little farming. Now the movie theater's over here, where the JoJo Mart used to be. Even a car parked right where I assume it was Murray's car was parked. So, although we can make a choice, ultimately whether there's a JoJo Mart here or a community center over there, and where the movie theater gets built, assuming we progress in the game and do the things that, the game is telling us that our character wants to do, we're going to end up with a movie theater, whether we go the JoJo route or not. Regardless of which route you choose, this is what you personally are going to be doing. You're not buying tractors, you're not buying a car, and you're not doing a lot of things that you could be doing if you were gonna go modern. Certainly you could order a chainsaw through JoJo if you wanted to cut down all of these trees. Certainly, with the money you earn, you could eventually buy a tractor. It's not like internal combustion engines don't exist here. But you choose not to. You dig in the ground. And it's not that you don't know how to drive. You just generally choose not to, unless there is a reason for you to do so, like to go to Calico Desert when Pam's not driving the bus. So although you're certainly capable of driving, you choose not to. And although you could certainly, for instance, order power tools instead of coming around to hang out with old Clint here and, upgrade pickaxes with magical metal, I think there's something that we can say about who we are in the community that we generally choose to join, whether we go JoJo or community center, either way. One way to read the central conflict of the game and a way to explain the way our character behaves is Luddites versus capitalists. And even capitalist may be too specific. The Luddites get kind of a bad rap. They get known as anti-technology. There's more to it than that, which, if you know anything that's ever happened ever, that won't surprise you. What they were actually against, to tell it in their own words, was technology that took people's jobs away and also made a measurably worse product. Now, we're not the only ones. That may be why we are here. This is a modern world. What modern world supports a blacksmith, even one full of so much iridium, except for a community that wants to? We're out here with hand tools in a modern world. Now, I would be surprised if something like a pickaxe, mass-produced with iridium would be better than one being handmade by somebody like Clint. But that's me. A mass-produced one is certainly cheaper, but you're not buying them from JoJo. You're not even buying milk there, although the sign that we saw clearly shows us that it's for sale. There's a lot of things your character does that are baked in. So although it seems like we have a lot of agency in the choices that we make, and the central one is whether we go JoJo or community center, in the end, it doesn't matter. We're going to get the same old movie theater, just in a different place. Pierre is still going to sell those summer seeds. We can still make friends with the townspeople. And either way we go, we will still always, no matter what we do, fall asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning and wake up with the world changed in ways we cannot explain. So while we seem to have a lot of agency in this game in terms of what the perceived central conflict is, what our main task is, either completing the warehouse or completing the community center, things are going to turn out the same. And again, we have these visions, and we cannot stay awake. So the obvious question is, what's going on? Is there someone or something doing this? Does it have something to do with the iridium? Well, I think that I might be starting to have a pretty good idea, but I gotta actually play through the game a little more before I say anything definitive. So we'll be back in another week or two with the next episode. Thanks so much for watching.